Born a Crime by Trevor Noah is one of the most eye-opening books I've read in a long time, not because I was unaware of the events that the book talks about, such as the apartheid in South Africa, but actually sitting in the perspective of a kid growing up and maturing while these events happen around him recontextualizes how these experiences impact people. Because yes, you hear about these events happening, but you don't put them in the context of these kids still have to go to school the next day, and you don't think about like how it would interfere with just a normal South African family's daily life. So with the title of the book being Born a Crime, it's pretty much straightforward telling you the biggest issue at the beginning of Trevor Noah's life. His birth was literally illegal. He is a mixed race child, which in apartheid South Africa was a huge no-no, to the point where the government would try and split the family if they knew. He quickly talks about the three racial system of South Africa: the whites, the colored, and the blacks, and how the South African government basically used the idea of three groups instead of just two like in America as a way to kind of pit the two groups against each other, and therefore letting the white oppressors just kind of having no ramifications for having this system in place. Every time I talk about something like this, people get angry in the comments, why are you getting political, things like that. This is not me getting political. I'm literally stating facts. This is a well-documented incident that happened, and this is the actual strategy the South African government put into place. If you don't like me talking about world events, unsubscribe from my channel, because books often include things about world events. The book then continues to explore the story of this poor South African kid growing up in a ghetto-like situation in South Africa and coming into the man who would then go on to host The Daily Show, filling in for Jon Stewart. It's really an incredible journey and changed how I viewed how someone can experience these events, which sounds very strange, but I think once you read the book, you'll understand it's more about the impact of these events than the actual events themselves. Because you can look all day at numbers and statistics of the, horrible things that were done in Africa, but having these stories, the real life stories of a kid growing up, watching them happen, really lets the impact settle in. The real hero of this story, while it is Trevor Noah's book, the person who really captured my attention the most was his mother, because not only is she a complete badass, she is a single mother trying to not be discovered by the government having a mixed race kid. Trevor Noah recounts these horrible things his mother had to go through, and I'm constantly thinking these are only the things he knew about. God knows what went on when the kid wasn't around with his mother. So she, without a doubt, is someone who I'd love to see interviews with and maybe a book from her herself. But Born a Crime, in terms of just exploring humanity and another sect of life that me as a American would never get, is captivating to me on a level that I can't really get anywhere else. It's a window into a part of the world that 99.9% of people will never get to view. I can't recommend picking it up enough. Even if you disagree with Trevor Noah's politics, which is fine, I don't agree with him on everything either, it's still just a point of reference for what it means to be a human on this planet that almost no one will understand. And I'm not saying I do now that I read the book, it's just that I got to look in on it for a second, and I think that is something that is truly invaluable, being able to peer into a part of the world you normally don't. This is why I am taking the time to recommend a book that's outside of the genres that my audience typically goes for. It's because I think it is really worth your time. It's not a very long book. I was able to listen to the audiobook at 1.5 speed in about one day at work. So I'm sure people who aren't obsessive like me, who just burn through a book, can do it in a week, no problem. Something that this book also I think will help people understand better, and I think it's something that we as a culture in America especially have a hard time with, is disagreeing with someone while still respecting them. More and more we're seeing people just, if you disagree with someone's politics, you can't respect them as an individual. And if you read this book, I think it will help break down some of those barriers. It helps you understand that when someone comes from a different time, a different place, maybe it's worth your time to at least listen. Even if they're wrong and you're right, it helps your argument to better understand where people who hold the opposing view come from, and you're just educating yourself, which can never be a bad thing. Overall, I'm going to give Trevor Noah's Born a Crime a must-read out of 10. Please pick this up if you aren't currently in the middle of something, or maybe if you want to just open up how you can see people experiencing the world just a little bit Born to Crime is absolutely worth your time. It's not a political book. There is no preaching to become liberal or anti-conservatism. Well, Trevor Noah is a liberal. It's just the story of a human growing up in a part of the world that you most likely have no experience in. That's pretty much all I had to say on that. I just think it's certainly worth your time. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Patreon is linked down below if you can afford to support the channel. I appreciate it, of course, immensely. Have a good one. Peace.